morning, gorgeous. I'm joking. I saw that in a movie, and I like it. I want to talk about the advantages of having less lethal and lethal at the same time. I know it's like a dirty word. It's like lethal and less lethal. That's like Republican and Democrat, or uh, Republican or Democrat. I was trying to mix up the word Republican and Democrat. I'm not that skilled in wordplay, but anyway, my reasoning of having less lethal and lethal at the same freaking time. I think with less lethal, I I I do not trust my less lethal to be 100% reliable, especially when I have it in my bag. I trust less lethal if I'm going out and I check my less lethal, especially my burner. Okay, I have the safety on. I have a CO2. I'm like, okay, but if I don't check it daily, and sometimes I don't, anything can happen. And I have gone out, like I cycle all my weapons to shoot on Sunday, my less lethal. I don't go to all of them. I haven't done my TR 50 for a while, but it's because I got the Devastators and they are expensive. So I save that for special occasions. I do that because as much as I like less lethal weapons, I can't put 100% reliability in them, and most of my weapons are pretty reliable. But if I'm in a dangerous situation, or I'm in a situation, I'm like, shoot, what if I shoot it, or I say, hey, stop, I got less lethal, and I take it off, and I engage the CO2, or I puncture it at the end, and it just doesn't work. You lose the sense of surprise, and then that person you got nothing, so they're gonna come harder, and then you got fight your way out of it, or you gotta use the actual as a weapon, and they may have a knife, so add that element. But I have a lethal, just like, I know my lethal will take care of the job. I know my Phoenix RM22 will take care of the job. Now, I don't keep it loaded. I keep it with me, but I don't necessarily keep it one round the chamber and engage. Even though it has a lot of safety mechanism, I just don't trust if I have my firearm and I just put my bag down and it may fire through, and heaven forbid it hits me or my loved ones. I will be damaged forever mentally for have a fire, accidental shooting, or anything like that. I couldn't live with myself. So my setup is I have my magazine for my Phoenix arm, and if I'm in a really bad situation and I can get away, or I can see the situation, I would take out my burner and have my Phoenix arm in my pocket. Or I'll have my burner TCR at home in my hand, and I have my what do I own? My Taurus C23. I can't think of that. G2C. There you go. Or I may be wrong, but you know what I mean. I will have that as I know as my backup. And then some people will say, well, what if they have firearm first and then you piss them off? Look, folks, there's a lot of what ifs and woulda, couldas. There's different scenario, and you can't be ready for everything. If they trying to shoot and shoot, for the most part, they lose element of surprise. And I don't think for the average person, unless they drug high or they out to get you, it's going to sit there and just, crossfire and shooting. This ain't cocaine cowboys. And, and this is not Griselda Blanco either. So, less lethal is just for legal. I mean, I would have my less lethal. Hopefully it would distract them and say no. And then let's say you hit them a couple of times with that less lethal. The less lethal in the chest. They will hopefully deter, and then worst case scenario, you can bring the gun. And then, to tell you the truth, you can just do muscle memory tests. Of course, keep the less lethal, not loaded, and then, have the lethal. So you can train your brain to do anything to take out the less lethal and then go for the lethal. You can train your brain to do that, and that's a lot of major shooters. They just practice that dry fire all the time, and it's just muscle memory. So it's great advantages of having less lethal. Having less lethal and lethal at the same time. If the lethal, for heaven's sake, if they can survive the lethal, and 85%, 90% of people cannot survive the less lethal, then you have the lethal, and it will unfortunately do the job. But once again, once you bring out that lethal, understand. Your gun's gonna be taken, cops gonna be called, and you got to face a legal situation that most people financially don't have the money to fight. Now, if I had like 50 million or 50,000 or 5,000 at that, I won't even if I have money, because it's time away from my loved ones, time, and trying to talk to a lawyer about why I shot and justify it. That's a lot of work when you bring out that lethal. That less lethal is so much easier to fight legally, and even that is not guaranteed depending on the state. So, it's just all for protection, and depending on how good a lawyer you are, is how you can justify it. For me, less lethal first, lethal second. I know the lethal. It's like watching the end of a movie. I know, let's say the Lord of the Rings. I know that they're going to destroy the ring because you read the books, right? But you go along with the movie just for the anticipation. So your lethal, your Taurus, your Glock, your Smith and Wesson, your Heckler. It's going to do the job. So have that as your backup, and then have a less lethal as your main, unless you're working. It's all about what the environment is. If I am going downtown Chicago and I'm saying I'm going to Capri Green, most likely I'm not going to have my less lethal first. I'm going to have my lethal first and then less lethal second. But lethal going to take care of the job all day. Now, if I'm going to the nicest parts and nice cities with beautiful HOAs, I'm not essentially a threat like that. So I'm going to go less lethal. So you have to use common sense to judge what is the best option for you. For me, most of the time it's less lethal. Nobody in daytime is going crazy like that. But there's a lot of people with mental health issues, and a lot of people with mental health issues with access to a gun, and you just don't know. Nothing is foolproof, right? A gun or less lethal, nothing is foolproof, and some things are left for chance, and some things are left for the good Lord above to handle. But it is what it is, right? So, use common sense, but I use less lethal first and then lethal second, right? All right, have a good one.